Welcome back to the Turf District on a Sunday night record, which is a little different for us, but hey, got to try something different every now and again. We are prepared for this week as Edmonton plays Saskatchewan, and that will be a very interesting game, I'm sure, especially with all the ones we have to talk about for this particular week. As I said, welcome to the Eskimo Empire podcast. I am Andrew, your host, and boy, we've got a great show this week for you. Of course, we're going to recap the game on Saturday, and we're going to recap the rest of the CFL as well. But let's get to who's here this evening, starting over in the corner as usual. Oh, let's just adjust this so we don't get all that there. Hey. How you doing? Nice new jersey.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd sport it tonight,
Yeah. Getting a little snapping wind championships going on in there.
Yeah, and at practice, I talked to him last practice, and he said, this coming up practice, he'll sign it.
Well, that's lovely. Excellent.
And I said, thanks, bud.
Okay, well, that's, that'll be
well,
nice.
Matt came over and signed my other one the week before.
That's right, yes.
So that was pretty cool. So.
Lovely. Yeah. Awesome. Well, now also joining us, now how are we going to do this? I sat you out of order. Let's see. You can't see. All right, there. Superfan. Yay. How you doing, Superfan?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
Better than on last Monday night. But
yes. I think
not great.
I think we proved last week that it's not a good idea to record right after a game.
No.
So 24 hours, this will be a little bit more helpful.
Exactly. The scars will have healed on the wrist.
Everything else. Okay. Oh, God, the Horsemen just joined. They're going to know all we're talking about. Okay. Also joining us as featured fan all the way from Victoria, it is Paul. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Thanks for joining us here before you're flying back to Victoria.
Not a problem.
And joining us here in the Turf District. I know that you're coming from... you're our season ticket holder, even though you're in Victoria.
Yeah.
How many games have you been to this year?
This will be my first regular season game. Well, I hit the Labor Day game on Monday, obviously, but back to back them. So
perfect. Was that your first time reaching going to both games?
Oh God, no.
No. Okay.
No, I 24-year Eskimo season ticket holder, and I think the longest streak in there was probably about 15 years of back to back.
Oh wow.
I had all sorts of friends down in Calgary. They always were great hosts for us for tailgate. We do the entire weekend down there, sleep on couches, and have all sorts of traditions and stuff like that. And they would always come up for the back-to-back on the Friday back when it was then. So awesome. Labor Day is just a great tradition, and it was great to be able to get Mike in there for his first crack at it.
It's true.
Oh, you gotta break the... No, well, let's not
Breaking
go there. Okay,
wind,
yeah.
yes,
That's right, yeah.
Breaking new wind.
That's exactly right.
That describes the car right
Oh
on the
my,
back.
exactly. Okay, let's talk here a little bit about the game, just a touch. Chris Curtis had asked, so the second half collapse, did you guys find that surprising, or do you think, let's start with you, Paul. I mean, you're our guest. Do you think this team can put together 60 minutes of play?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, this wasn't a collapse as much as it was situational. I mean, I think that there's some other teams that make better second half adjustments than what we do for sure. But we played most of the second half without a running back. We had John White go down with a shoulder injury, tried to come back in, had the fumble, presumed that it might have been a bit of a result of the injury. We had Calvin go down, unfortunately, and our roster just isn't built for having a Mike Miller come in. He's a great utility player, but he's not the guy you can necessarily count on converting the second and short.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we're a one-dimensional team playing the best team in the league. I don't think it's fair to say we collapsed. I don't think it's fair to say, we didn't put in 60 minutes of effort. I think our defense, in fact, stepped up great in some key moments in the game, and it was just a situational case where we found ourselves shorthanded, and maybe that's going to change the approach with the ratio. Maybe we make some moves to get two import backs on there instead of a kick return specialist.
Yeah, that absolutely. I agree with that. That's going to come up in the podcast for sure. Mike, give us your thoughts there on that performance there.
I mean, obviously, I think we can put together 60 minutes. We haven't really seen it yet this season. We've seen close, but I haven't seen a complete game out of anyone. The second half, it just seemed like they adjusted and we didn't. We were doing well. Like, what did we adjust to?
Yeah, I
what
agree.
you're doing is working. Obviously, we were 17-3 at the half, so unfortunately they outscored us 17-3 in the second half.
Yeah.
So what can we do? That's why I guess they pay the coaches the big bucks and not me. So
Yeah, thank God they don't pay me to do that.
exactly.
Well, yeah, you're right.
UT, your thoughts on that and
The only thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, the only thing I can really, step up to plate and say anything about is those stupid penalties. I mean, those unnecessary roughness ones, the conduct one were
Misconduct, yeah.
misconduct ones. I mean, you don't pick up somebody's shoe and toss it over into your bench and think you're going to get away with it. When there's a ref standing right there. What was he thinking?
No, it wasn't. Actually.
He wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
And then to make that one penalty where we had them stopped for the 2-point conversion. And
Offside.
Yeah, and an offside. The whole line was offside.
But they tagged it on Odell, unfortunately. But yeah.
But I mean, come on, guys. We can win. We can do it. You just got to have more discipline.
Yeah.
Like, be a little more disciplined.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you, and that 60 minutes, we were close there. You said it, Mike. We were close at one point. We were going to settle for 48 or 50, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we dropped, I think, to 35 or something. Now we're back up again. We can hang in there with the big boys.
Yeah.
But stay consistent, and you will get your win if you're consistent in your play.
And make adjustments,
And
right?
make
I think that's the
adjustments,
biggest thing. So,
So
would you guys say overall, a question from Joe came, what needs to change to get this team to respond in the second half? Do you think it is solely just adjustments? Do you think, what do you think, UT?
well, whatever they're talking about in the dressing room, I'd like to be the fly on the wall. I can tell you that, because they were 17-3 at the half.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is such a builder of confidence to go out there in the third quarter and pick it up where they left off.
Yeah.
What did Calgary do? The question should be, what did Calgary see that we didn't? Like, they came out in the third and just took it away from us in the first play.
Mm-hmm.
Like right away. I think it was 3 or 4 minutes into the third, and they were already, momentum was building.
Yeah.
What happened to our 17-3 momentum?
Right.
Like, are we expecting to just go out there and say, we'll just carry on? No. You got to go out there with that killer instinct. Like. That little break is in the half there is to just kind of get your breath and put a few Band-Aids on and then go back out there and play. No, really, that's how what you do.
Little Hello Kitty Band-Aids.
Yeah.
Currently, no one brought orange slices for your games.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, like, to me, they just mentally, physically they can play. Somehow mentally they fell apart.
All right. Paul, what do you think?
I think it comes back to the slow starts that we have too. And again, anytime you're starting a game, starting a half, a lot of it's going to be scripted plays. You're going to have a plan that you're going to go out and execute. Whether it's a little too predictable maybe in terms of how we're lining up, or some of the limitations. We're seeing the slow starts at the start of games. We're seeing the same thing coming out of half generally. It's not necessarily how you finish the half. I mean, they always talk about that late touchdown, that late goal in hockey, carrying through. That only carries through if you start quick on the next one, if you can find a way to use that. And I'd like to see us maybe either counter some things that we get locked in on. You see a lot of times we really get focused on Darius Bowman.
Yeah.
Let's look at what that third or fourth read or how that play could turn into an end around for Darrell Walker or a screen pass to the fullback or something, tendency breakers, I guess is what I'm getting at, to really inject a little bit more indecision. Last year, one of the the two main things I think that we had were conditioning due to the pace of practice, and I don't know if that's fully fallen off, but I have a suspicion that maybe it has a little bit. Jones was definitely a taskmaster in that sense, and I get the sense as good of a coach and as well liked of a coach as Jason Moss is, as relatable as he is. He maybe doesn't drive the guys quite as hard. He puts a little bit more on them to be responsible for their conditioning. The other part, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. It's fair enough. I get it. The conditioning is a book. We've said that a few times on the show, though, too. Yep. And is that something that's taking effect in that second half? Yeah. Right?
I guess the other thing is more the trick plays and the stuff like that. The risk tolerance that we had last year doesn't quite seem to be there in the same way. I mean, we're willing to gamble on third and a yard and a half, but it's maybe not as innovative in terms of sort of the Jordan Lynch package and looking at a few other things that teams have to prepare for and have to spend time practicing for. Right now, they're practicing, I think, more for a base offense and a base defense, and that's giving them times to get things right and to have adjustments queued up and ready to go.
Yeah, totally.
Well, you've been at practice. I've seen you at practice.
Oh, absolutely.
And you saw how Jones had every single human being out there doing something.
Yeah.
And like you said, Andrew, and Mike, we were talking too, that we were a conditioned team physically.
Yeah.
And mentally, that came second. We were more physical than mental. And then Jason comes along. He's trying to put all of the mental into it. And you go to practice now, and there's guys standing around.
Yeah.
I don't like that. You gotta keep your body conditioned. You have to get everything rolling. The mentality has to come into it for the plays, yes. But if you got it all in your head how to make the play, but you can't run the play physically, something's not right.
Well, it's a lot of hands on hips.
The fact is, the game needs to be the easiest part of your week in comparison to your practice. I mean, that's what it used to be, right?
That's right.
Or the game should seem easier, not is the easiest.
If you're that much more conditioned than your opponent, absolutely, when you're into the second half. The key difference, though, too, is to make sure that that conditioning and those types of practice that go in there are great when you're winning and when you have a positive environment.
Yeah.
As you can see, with Regina this year, they're probably practicing just as hard as we were last year, and sometimes probably even a little harder.
Yeah.
But it's got to be grating on guys when you have a record and the finger pointing and those sorts of things.
That's very true, and they're getting better. You watched that last game when Saskatchewan played. Yeah, they lost.
Yeah,
but they're knocking on the door, and they're going to be the spoiler team. I think so.
We've been hearing they're getting better since week one. Teams that are getting better don't go out and find Blake Mitchell.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah, I like that saying. Yeah. Mike, to your 2 cents there, just on second halves here, and then we will get moving.
To me, it's you got to have the veterans step up.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that need to get in the locker room and say, we got to come out fired up.
Yeah.
They need to get out there, step on their throats. We've been up how many times in the first half?
Yeah.
And come out in the second half and just completely mess the bed.
Yeah.
And I think that's up to the veterans to get everyone together, especially the team captains, the team leaders, whether it's Odell on defense, Riley on offense, etc., to come out there and say, I don't care what the score is. We got to come out there and we got to just put the boots to them.
Yeah.
And they haven't done it yet, so.
Absolutely.
No,
absolutely.
I think we misremember a little of last year, too, because there were definitely some halftime leads that we let go.
Nope.
The one in BC in particular stands out, and I know you and I were at that game.
We were.
That was sort of the end of the Matt Nichols thing. And there were situational things. Kuhorn went down, Bowman went down.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, we had a number of leads. We won a lot of close games last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those close games are going the other way this year.
Absolutely.
Which has been very difficult. So, thanks, boys. I thought that was great. We have more questions that we'll definitely get to in the podcast. Quick Empire points update. Leanne is in first. Joe Balaneski in second. hot on right behind. Wait, how am I going to say this nicely? In third place, almost in second, is Jedi Chantel. Chris Agar, Papa Duck is in fourth, and Joe Pritchard is in fifth. So thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for continuing to do that. Ryan's asking how many does he have? UT takes care of it. Message him. He'll tell you. I think you're in ninth place because you got that big score this week, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm still working on the points too.
Oh, I bet.
I just did a mad rush for today. So,
okay, well that's okay. They'll keep coming.
But things are going to come together by tomorrow. It'll all be all tallied up, and that could change overnight.
All right, perfect. Oh, we like changing.
For wearing green and gold. I'm just saying.
That's right. Yeah, extra bonus points. Yeah. Ryan, you send me a picture of bonus points in green and gold. We'll see how that works. Never gonna happen. All right. Congrats to Cappy D this week, who is first in our pick'em. A couple of familiar faces all of a sudden in the top 5. So we'll talk about that in the podcast. Show is out on Wednesday as always. We'll recap this match. We'll go over the rest of the CFL games. Our pick'em, and of course the CFL Pod League updates. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Esk Empire Pod, of course on Facebook. Get all that type of thing, and make sure you're joining in the conversation. That'll be great. Our game preview will be out on Friday, and we're going to be joined by Belton Johnson again to talk about the Riders and Eskimos game that is coming this next Sunday, so a week from today. So thank you again, everyone, for joining in. Thank you guys for being part of the show. We will be out on Wednesday. We will absolutely talk to you then.